Okay, hello everybody, hello boys and girls, how are you? This is Alejandro Castillo from Mexico City, the largest city in the world. Today is Wednesday, June the 9th of 2021, and it's a pleasure to be here with you. And well, today, in episode 165, it's an honor for me to introduce you to Mr. Bradbury from Canada. He does a lot of things, but right now he's the head of refereeing commission of NORCECA, president of refereeing commission of NORCECA, and member of FIVB rules of the game and refereeing commission. Hello, Guy. How are you?
Good evening, Alexandro. Very well, and thank you so much for the opportunity to be with you tonight. Really appreciate it.
It's an honor for me. This morning, Jackie Skender from Volleyball Canada told me, "Hey, this is great. I will share this on Instagram." And can I? I told her, yes, of course, please share.
Yeah, Jackie's a good colleague. She does a lot of hard work for Volleyball Canada, and I can say on our behalf, all her work is very much appreciated.
Yeah, well, welcome everybody. We will spend some time here with Mr. Bradbury. We will talk about, of course, volleyball, or the beginnings of a guy in volleyball, and his career as a referee, and of course, his current job in NORCECA and FIVB. And we will talk about some volleyball philosophy and maybe refereeing philosophy. Why not? This is not a technical talk. It's a talk about Guy, to know about more about his career, about the person. But welcome everybody again to this amazing talk with Guy Bradbury. So, Guy, please tell us: Are you right now in not in Toronto, right? I was confused.
No, right now I'm in Newfoundland and Labrador. It's a province and basically an island on the east coast of Canada.
Right.
And since COVID is hit, normally I live in Toronto, but since COVID has been here, I've come here where it's relatively safe. There's not many population, and soon we'll be heading back to Toronto.
Oh, and I can imagine that it's a beautiful place, right?
Newfoundland Labrador is absolutely amazing. It's really some place that everybody who would like to travel to come here and see an island in the North Atlantic that has very rugged, very many coves, many different dialects of people. The food is fantastic, and this time of the year, the icebergs are coming down from the north, and they're just spectacular. And then the views in some of our outline areas is really breathtaking. And so we get a lot of people coming to Newfoundland and Labrador, particularly during the summer for personal vacation. So, and since COVID has stopped, has hit us, there's not been many people traveling here, and soon it'll be hopefully be all open, and that the tourism industry can survive again.
Well, I can imagine, and I really invite you, because here in Mexico City, we just see a lot of buildings, a lot of concrete, a lot of asphalt, 25 million people here, and I think I really invite you to be in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime.
Thanks a lot, Guy. Hey, my very good friend and mentor, Mr. Zaragoza, is here. Juan Zaragoza says, hello, good afternoon to you friends, especially to Guy.
Juan and I have traveled many times together, and we've actually whistled together when we were both active referees. And Juan is a member of the NORCECA refereeing commission and a hardworking member of the commission. So it's always good to see and be with Juan.
Yes, I know. Saludos, ingeniero Zaragoza. No te vayas, por favor, y ojalá te puedas conectar. But also Miguel Ramirez, who told me, hey, I will connect of course, with Guy Bradbury.
Well, it's been a while since I've seen Miguel, but he's a strong advocate for beach volleyball referees, and I know my colleague Andre Trache depends on Miguel quite a bit for all his support and services for NORCECA referees and even some FIVB activities.
Yeah, well, last night Miguel texted me. He was very excited because NORCECA notified him that he will be the refereeing coach for the Continental Cup of Beach Volleyball 2 weeks from now in Colima.
Oh, that's excellent. That's excellent. Yeah, and as we start to open up, we're going to start to see more competitions, and more athletes getting back to play, and then more referees getting a chance to whistle. So we're all looking forward to that particular time.
Yeah, right. Well, we have more messages of my very good friend, Octavio Medina from Mexico, now living in Seattle, Washington, says hello to Alex and Guy. Victor Bagala, Guy, regards from Argentina.
Ah, very good, Victor. Good to hear from you.
And Ron the J, the letter Ron the J, says greetings from Cancun.
Ah, I've been to Cancun once. Very, very nice. Maybe I get a chance to go back again.
Yeah, very, very nice. Very different weather
Yes.
from Newfoundland, Labrador.
Very, very much so right now. Yes.
Especially in the winter.
Oh, in the winter, yes, we get our fair bit of snow here during the winter, but it's part of life. We grew up with it, so you get used to it, and you enjoy the 4 seasons when they come, but you particularly enjoy the summer.
Yes, of course, I can imagine. Well, Guy, thanks again for being here. Last week I had Dennis Cespedes here in the show in some other show called Volleyball Connections. We are I make this show once or twice a week with Mark Levital, as 2 weeks ago, with Clayton Lucas, last week with Dennis Cespedes, and he told me, hey, Gabe Bradbury is doing a great job. He's our referee coach. Online from Zoom. You are not in Rimini, but you are giving some feedback to some referees in Rimini, right?
Yes, this is a program of the FIVB, something which we've just started. We did this last year with Volleyball Nations League because of the amount of travel which teams do, and normally we would send a referee coach to provide support for our referees. In this particular case, with the bubble, it probably made a lot more sense that we attempt to do this from a distance. So we're called a referee coach from a distance. And there's two other colleagues who are doing it from a distance. Sergei Titov, based in Russia, Sandy Steele, based in Scotland, and myself, based here in Canada. And each day, and then Willie Parada is actually in Remy, and he's the one who is coordinating all the referees and doing all the nominations and working between the referees and the host organizing committee. So there's 8 matches a day. So each one of us take 2 matches a day each. We have a particular software that we're able to look at the matches, and particularly we're able to download and do some clips if necessary. And then right after the match, we contact the referees and provide some feedback and support when required, or otherwise we're just here for moral support and provide them with some information to help them manage a match for the next match.
And what do you think was the most challenging thing working with this system at the distance?
It is at the distance, is not being there to feel the emotion of the game. You're looking at something on the screen, you're only looking at, and we do not get necessarily the TV feed because there's many different camera angles I think a TV would pick up. We generally just get the feed at the net so it's just whatever you see there. So we really don't get to see the interaction between the second referee and the coaches and the teams, the second referee with the scores. We get to hear the whistle, so you get to hear the whistle signal sequence of a referee, but you may not get to see some of the interaction between the referees and players because they automatically go to a replay. But generally we're able to, and our objective is not to be overly critical or anything, is to provide that coaching support. So it just may be 1 or 2 points each match that we may identify. And then we'd send and ask the question, I saw this, what did you see? Tell me. And they would look at it and provide that feedback. And then if there's necessary for a continuing conversation, we will. If not, we just move on and wait for the next day.
Yeah, well, in the feed of TV, of Volleyball TV, I have seen a lot of things that impress me, and I think it's good for me. It's good as a spectator because the court or the playing area looks so clean, with no
Yes.
linesmen, with no ball retrievers, no moppers. It's good for the TV. But how how difficult it is for the referees working without linesmen?
Well, where this actually started in Italy for the last 5 or 6 years, they do not use linesmen. There's no line judges at all. So they use the exact type of system which we are using now at VNL. With regards to all the challenge programs that come in place. And I think the referees have adapted fairly well to it. I think when we started the first couple of days, it was just a matter of finding and being able to manage your time between when you look at the net, when you leave the net to pick up the ball where the ball lands. So what we're seeing, or what I'm seeing now over the last 8 days or so, is that referees have become really comfortable with it. And then of course, if they're not quite sure, they just do their own referee review and have the challenge system provide them with some support to help them make the decision. Of course, with the challenge system, it's always the objective is to make the right call in the fairness of the game. So I think the referees have adapted quite well.
Yeah, you're right, but you have every team have a limited amount of challenges to per set. The referee also, they have a referee challenge because you can challenge as a coach every play.
Yeah, I think it's we use the term referee challenge, but personally for me, I think it's a referee review, because a challenge means that you're challenging something, and a referee review, the referee just wants that second opinion. And they do not have the line judge for a second opinion. They may ask their second referee, or the second referee may ask the first referee if it's a net touch or something along those lines, or an antenna touch. So now they're able to go to and ask the challenge operators, Hawkeye, to provide them with a bit more feedback on actually what just happened. And I think in the match today, there was one call or one decision very late in the set that the referee wasn't quite sure and requested a referee review. And it, then it confirmed the decision. Everybody understood what was happening. And then it confirmed the decision, and then the teams were able to move on.
Perfect. Thanks, Guy. I have two very, very interesting messages for you. One is from Samara Sevor. She says hi from Canada. She's a referee from Canada, Samara. Thanks a lot. And the other is Mr. Doug Wilson. Hello, Guy and Alejandro. Very interesting discussion. Hello, Doug. Greetings to Colorado.
Doug Wilson and I go back a long time. We've been members of the NORCECA Refereeing Commission together. We've been members of the FIVB Commission together, and we whistled many times throughout the world. So it's always a pleasure to hear from Doug. And Samara is, sorry, go ahead.
No, come on, please, Samara. What?
Yeah. And Samara is a developing referee. She'll be attending a FIVB referee course this year, actually in Durango, Mexico. So hello to Samara. Thanks.
Yeah, well, Doug was also here in the show last year. Very, very interesting talk with Doug Wilson. Perry Rolf was also here. Susana Rodriguez-Játiva, Denis Céspedes, a lot of international referees. Thanks a lot. Also, my very good friend from Guadalajara, Mexico, Mari Carmen Duran, international referee, says, greetings from Guadalajara, excellent referee coach, and great job at the referee commission. I hope the best. Also, President NORCECA Refereeing Commission, a big hug.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, Mari Carmen Duran, he was also in the show twice or three times, I don't know. For sure, one alone, and the second with a very, very interesting initiative from Willie Perez. He told me, hey, what do you think if we get just a show for just international female referees? And I told Willie, it's great. So we made one show, and a few days later, he texted me, he told me, hey, Alejandro, it was a successful show. So the other female international referees from here, Europe and Asia, they told me, hey, Willie, why don't you consider us? And we made a second show, very, very interesting both.
That's tremendous. Willie this year at the FIVB Congress made a presentation about women in refereeing, particularly for female referees. and a project which the referee commission has in mind, waiting for further review by the FIVB. But really, one of the objectives of the referee commission is to continue to provide greater support for women in refereeing, not just at the international level, but to provide that base so that female referees will have the opportunity to continue their development, not only at their national level, but also provide the opportunity at the international level. So it doesn't surprise me that Willie would really try to encourage this type of discussion and dialogue.
Yeah, right. Well, and continue with the VNL. It was an idea of who? Of a refereeing commission or rules of the game or sport organization. I told you that I think right now you have the playing area very clean. It's very grateful for the eyes of the fan in the TV to see in the court just the players. It's very interesting. Can you tell us more something about that?
Well, I actually asked one of my colleagues who are at VNL, what feedback have the coaches provided, and whether or not this is, and the players, of course, and whether or not this is something that we could see in the future. And of course, you would need certainly the challenge system to be able to do this. So will we be seeing this in NORCECA? Without the challenge system, I doubt it. So will you see it at other events? It would not surprise me that we would see it at other events. I think the players have gotten used to picking the ball out of the basket at the end of the court. Is that something that they continue to look at? Right now, the players are doing the mopping on the floor. Is that something that's going to come down the line? But I agree with you in terms of the cleanness, the openness, you're just seeing the players in their environment working as hard as they can and performing at such a high level. And yeah, it does make for a clean environment. So, I think from what we look at, some various VNLs, some Challenge Cup types of programs where we do try certain things, this may be one of the outcomes that the, certainly volleyball world or certainly the FIVB sports department will look at in the future. And it also may just reduce the hosting pressure on a particular host having to get that many volunteers for ball retrievers. It'll be unfortunate from the referee development side because the people who actually do line judge, they are part of the overall referee team and they get to be engaged with high quality international referees, and they're invited to participate in the after match discussion. So that would be one of the detriments, that we would lose that type of communication and that type of personal development. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the high performance at FIVB, the development is more at the confederation and national at the national level.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Well, I was a referee for a few years, and it was always interesting when the international events come to Mexico. Hey, I want to be part of the event. Yeah. I will be linesman. For example, Patty Rolfe. Patty Rolfe was linesman in Atlanta '96. And I'm pretty sure that was a boost for her, motivation and extra motivation, so they can get for international referee.
Yeah, being a line judge is a real challenging job in modern volleyball. The athletes today are so strong, they're so powerful, they're so fast, and to be a line judge, your flag is your whistle, and then you have to make that decision really quickly if the ball is in or out or if there was a touch, and you have to think as a line judge exactly like the first referee. The first referee blows his or her whistle when the ball hits the floor. And right now, this is what they're doing, making that determination if the ball is in or out, or it's a touch. But as a line judge, you also are making that same decision. So at one time, being a line judge, you just call whether the ball is in or out, and maybe the first referee used you or didn't use you. But now in modern volleyball, it's a critical component of the game. And I think, for us in NORCECA, we will spend some time. Well, when I go to a competition, we spend a lot of time with the line judges, providing them with that support, providing them with the direction so that they understand where they fit into the dynamic and the referee team to support the players or what they're attempting to achieve on the court.
Okay. Again, please go back to your beginnings in volleyball. I want to know if you have played, how you discovered volleyball. It was volleyball your first choice of sport, or did you practice another sport? And then, of course, how was your turn to be a referee?
Coming through school, we had a school club system, and my club was Felians, and we had a volleyball program, we had a football, soccer program, we had a baseball program, we had a softball program, and we had a volleyball program. So I played in all of those all the way through. When we went to high school, again, we had a 4-week season of volleyball, so that was one of my sports. And when I went to university, I played for the university, and I played on our provincial team. And it was there that I was also playing basketball at the same time, and I hurt my thumb playing basketball, so I had to take some time from volleyball as an active player. And this is where I began refereeing. Because you had to go to the competitions, you had to go to the tournaments as part of the team. But coming from a small province, we did not have that many referees. So you generally played and refereed and played and refereed. And then just by osmosis, I became more engaged as a referee. And then as our teams traveled to various national championships, I had the opportunity to participate in that and travel. So then I began to take refereeing more seriously, or become more active as a referee. And then my playing career was more as a senior, recreational, competitive player. And then I continued on from the refereeing side.
Which year are we talking about? The 80s, 90s?
I received it's the 80s. It's probably the 70s and 80s. I received my international badge in 1983. Wow. I attended the course at a FISU Games with the legendary Dr. Hove. Did my course, and actually back then we did the course, and we had the World Student Games right after FISU, and I did my matches. So in
Buffalo, right? In 93 in Buffalo?
No, that was in Edmonton, Canada, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Buffalo was in the 90s, I think, or it might have been the late 80s.
It was 93, I think.
Yeah, because 83 was in Edmonton, and 85 was in Kobe, Japan. And then my next World Student Games was with Doug Wilson in 1995 in Sicily.
Fukuoka. 95 in Fukuoka with Zaragoza.
No, that was, 85 was in Kobe, Japan. Okay. 95 is when Doug Wilson and I were together in Sicily, in Catania, for the 95 FISU Games.
Great. I have 2 more messages. My friend Andrew Robb says, warm regards and greetings to you, Alejandro and Guy.
Best regards, Andrew. Andrew's a dear friend, dear colleague.
And my very good friend, Francisco Medina from Cuba, says, nice Bradbury.
Very good. It's been a while since I've seen Francisco. He was actually a member of our referee commission, NORCECA referee commission. So it's always nice to hear from him. He's a very hardworking person for volleyball.
Yeah, the last thing I knew about Francisco is that he was working in Costa Rica.
Yes, that's what I've heard. I have not seen him in a while, so that's wonderful.
Okay, what happened next with your international career as a referee, Guy? How did you develop? You mentioned names like Doug Wilson, Zaragoza. With which other personalities of refereeing have you interacted with?
Oh, I was very fortunate in 1997, I guess. I became a World League referee. And I did 3 or 4 World League finals. in the final grouping. So I ref with some of the best people in the world. Frans Lodes from Netherlands, Jarmo Solino from Finland, Bella Horga from Hungary. Just very, I mean, Juan Perea from Argentina, Fernando Neva from Mexico. These are the people were really the who's of more recent volleyball, and so I had I learned a lot from them, and they continue to be colleagues and friends of mine to this day. So I finished my career in 2007. Actually, my last competition was the men's under 21 in Tijuana and in Mexicali. So that's where I did my last match, international match there. And
okay,
then
come on, please.
No, and then after I finished refereeing, I'm a member of Volleyball Canada, and right now I chair the High Performance and International Referee Development Subcommittee for our National Referee Committee. I was the National Referee Chair for 2 years. And then in 2011, I became a member of the NORCECA Referee Commission. And then 2016, I became the Secretary of the Commission. 2012, I was appointed or nominated for the FIVB Referee Commission and continue that. And this last October in 2020, I was nominated as president of the NORCECA Referee Commission. So, my life has been really around volleyball and working with volleyball. And since that time, I think I've become a referee advocate. I do a little bit of research in the referee development side, and it's becoming a real challenge worldwide for referees in sports to maintain, recruit, and develop and maintain the referees. So that is being a little bit of a pet project of mine over the last number of years, and hopefully I've been able to use some of that information to support what we're doing at the FIVB and certainly at NORCECA.
Amazing, guy. Well, you're thinking about I think that the recruiting new referees is a big challenge. There are not people knocking your door. Hey, I want to be referee. I want to be there. Which advice would you give to young referees?
One of the things that we found in the research which we did here in Canada is that 90% of we did a survey in 2017. 940 referees across the country participated in the survey. And over 90% of them said that the reason why they referee is because they love volleyball. We did a sort of similar survey with coaches, and there was a number of options which they had, but close to 30%, and if I rounded off with another variable in there, was well over 50% said they love volleyball, and that's the reason why they coach. So what led us to believe is that the future for referee development and referee recruitment is with players, because if people are going to continue, if they love the game, generally that's because they participated in the game. So as we start recruiting using that particular pool to start identifying particular referees, what we're looking at them is to continue your volleyball career, but just with a different team. There's a phrase out there called the third team. So on every volleyball court or on every soccer field or every baseball field, every tennis court, basketball court, there's team A, team B, and then there's the referees. So we have to provide a comfort level so that new referees or people who are interested in continuing with their involvement in volleyball, that they become part of this third team. And then how we do that is to give them confidence, the opportunity to develop, and to provide them with some strong mentorship. And I think this is what we're starting to see. This is what the new research, this is where we're beginning to see this new environment come out, where in order to attract people, we need to provide support. Because like you said, somebody doesn't wake up tomorrow morning and say, oh gosh, I think I'll become a referee. You actually almost are asked. When I listen to all the people who, I've talked to over the while, and I think if you ask people, how they became referees, they were asked to do it. My former coach asked me to do it. My friend was asked me to do it. I got injured and someone asked me to become a referee. Very few people said, I want to become a referee, then call up their local association and said, where's the next course? So how do we build that? How do we continue to make that connection with the people, with our players who at the end of their career say, I may not be able to participate anymore, or I'm not good enough, or whatever the case. And how do we continue to do that? And that's where we provide this opportunity to young referees by providing them with the support, the technical support to help them along, and then the mentor support that it's okay to make a mistake, and we'll work with you. And then that becomes an organizational issue too as well, because what we have to do then is work with coaches and players, that while they make mistakes, so will the referees, and particularly at that younger level, that we have to be able to give them some type of leeway. Say, it's okay, we'll get it next time. And I think that's going to be one of the challenges. It's, as we recruit people in, but even with our own organization in Ontario, the last time I looked, we were losing close to 25 to 30% of our referees, each year. And it may not have been, they may not have been first year referees. They may have been, year 1, year 2, year 3, but we're still losing 25 to 30% each year. That means we've got to recruit that additional 25 to 30% just to maintain status quo.
Wow, is this a challenging job?
Yeah, and and what's happened as well is that the technical performance of our sport is increasing every year. The amount of time which our coaches are contributing, the amount of time which the athletes are contributing, so they're all becoming better. So there's a phrase that high tide raises all boats. So we have to look at where's the referee program in this high tide? Where do we raise up so that we're able to provide the service to our players and to our coaches and to volleyball in general as referees? So talking with Andrew Robb, talking with Samira, these are leaders in the province of Ontario. And the challenge that they're facing is not only recruiting people in, but retaining people. How do we get them to continue in their career beyond that year 2, year 3? Because we feel once we have them beyond year 3, then they're making some type of commitment to our program.
Yeah, right. I have another messages from my French is not so good, but it's Marie-Claude Levesque.
Yes. Marie-Claude just completed her, she participated in a NORCECA international referee course in 2019. And, on behalf of NORCECA, we had 15 NORCECA referees go through that particular program. And now we're just waiting for play to resume, and then they can whistle and get their matches and qualify then as official NORCECA international referees.
Perfect. 2 years ago in Pan Am Cup in Colima, men's Pan Am Cup, I met this guy, Steve Hewitson from Kelowna. Very nice guy, very good referee, and he has an earthwork company in his city, but he loves volleyball and he wants to be at the top level of refereeing. I talk a lot with Steve.
Well, actually, Steve just wrote me yesterday. There's a number of us who are watching VNL, and every now and then we have a little dialogue between us. And there was one situation that he was asking clarification on. So yes, so we keep in touch. I think the international referee family is really a family. It really is a community, and we're here to support each other, and we're here to provide whatever help we can to, to be a member of our team, to push forward and show how much your teammate is, because if that person is working really hard, it makes all of us work hard. It's very similar to players, as as you get a leader on the court, we have a leader on the stand.
Yeah. Jorge Ernesto Erazo, I don't remember he's from Peru or Colombia. He says, good night, Mr. Gay Bradbury.
It's been a long time since I've seen Jorge.
He's from Peru or from Colombia?
I hope he's well. So thank you very much for that.
Do you remember?
I think it's Colombia, yeah.
Colombia, yeah, Colombia. Okay.
Yeah.
Saludos, yeah. Saludos a Jorge Ernesto Erazo. Yeah. Guy, it's very interesting about the beginnings of the volleyball, of the referee, of the young referee, sorry. But here's an interesting matter. How is technology reshaping the job of a referee, not just in the high level, but also in maybe in the national level? How the requirements for the referee to be more flexible and to adapt to technology?
Technology has been the biggest change for sport officials worldwide. As soon as the video camera was brought into a court, into the field of play, that changed everything. Because prior to that, when a referee or when a sport official made a decision, it was his or her decision only, and his or her to live. But with the introduction of video cameras, now that decision is final. That decision is set in stone forever. So now what's happened is that we've taken, as referees, we've taken some of the human aspect out of refereeing, because there's a coach with a camera, there's a parent with a camera, and then after the match, someone is coming and putting the phone to your face and here saying, look, here, you made this wrong call, you made this. So this has put a lot of pressure on referees. And so what we've had to do now as referee development officers and people is that we've had now to take this technology and use it ourselves and use it as a coaching tool. For example, we talked about VNL, and that's part of the ability to be able, no longer do you have to be really right there, because we have the technology and the video to look at it. For all NORCECA competitions, there are referees, coaches who bring cameras, and then we're able to, videotape a particular match and note a particular coaching situation, and then take it and clip it and give it to the referees so that they can say, that was a great call. I really nailed that particular call. Or, here's one that I was wondering about that. And maybe, so the next time I'll be a little bit more prepared, or I'll understand what's happening in this situation, that I'll make a different decision, or I confirm the decision with which I'm making now. So I think, and as the pandemic has really changed a lot of things. This is your 165th episode. How many of these episodes actually took place prior to the pandemic?
Zero.
So here's what we've done. Here's one of our takeaways from the pandemic, that it's really brought our community closer together. There's been a number of these types of programs out there, and then one of the critical things is using technology is, how do we continue this once we get back refereeing full time and people's lives become busy? Are we going to be able to take the time to be able to do these types of sessions? And then, people with Zoom or some type of screen sharing program, the blended learning concept where people want to get together or they want to do a webinar. Again, another one of our research, which I did, 4 years ago, I asked people, and this is pre-pandemic, of course, do you prefer classroom or online video sessions. And classroom was by far the leading point at that particular time. People wanted that human interaction. They wanted that engagement. Now, we haven't done one since the pandemic to see whether or not people have had enough of Zoom and they still want, but I think there's going to be a bit of a balance for it of what we're looking at in the future. So we'll be using technology from that perspective, but then we're also using technology right on the field of play that we can provide direct feedback to our referees.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's a very, very new tool, very new instruments. It's amazing that we can make this session in Zoom right now, but I know that the end is very soon, is very close, because people wants to be in the court, wants to be in the gymnasium. They don't want to be to hear two guys talking about volleyball. Not more after 165 episodes. So we have to improve a lot after this.
Yeah, well, that's where the challenge comes in for all of us is how do we continue to make this type of communication? And that's one of the primary goals of the NORCECA Referee Commission, is to increase our communication and maintain our communication with our referees. From the volleyball side, we have 105 international referees and candidates in NORCECA, and we have 56 beach volleyball referees. So it's not a big amount, but it's going to be important how we continue this communication, how people fit it in for what we're doing. So it's a challenge for us as administrators and organizers of how we adapt. We adapted to the pandemic. How do we adapt, as the pandemic transitions to some type of normalcy, and whatever that normalcy is going to be?
Yeah, right. Because for some, maybe for some refreshment courses in NORCECA, not all the referees can attend for many reasons, for job, for travel restriction, for money. And yeah, these kind of tools are very, very helpful, I think.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we are looking at is these types of refreshment courses. But it's still critical from a referee's perspective that we get a chance to whistle. A team cannot just look at video all the time. They need to get on the court. They need to be able to apply and understand what the coach showed them on video. So for us as referees, we have to find a way that we can provide a non-threatening environment for our referees to whistle so they can practice. And I think that's a key area right from, and you talked a little bit earlier on how we do, with new referees and coming in, is providing them with that non-threatening opportunity to whistle and just learn how to be a referee.
Yeah, right. My very good friend Miguel Ramirez is here. He says, "Hello, dear Guy Bradbury and Alex. Greetings from Mexico City."
Hello, Miguel. Pleasure as always.
Hey, you also have a sombrero brought to you by Miguel, or never?
No, I don't think so. I can't remember. Sorry.
No, because 3 or 4 weeks ago, Jose Maria Padron from Spain was here, and he told us, "Hey, my sombrero Miguel gave to me is now in my mother's house because he loves sombreros."
Oh, okay. Maybe next time.
Okay. Well, talking about this technology thing, obviously, it's different, the levels of technology in what we see in DNL and what we see in local national competitions. It's very difficult that for example, in Mexico, in national competition, we can have a tablet system, or we can have a hockey system, but electronic sheet, for example, is pretty affordable. And the radios, the headsets for communication, it's affordable. So technology is becoming a very more common issue in volleyball, in some places more than others, right?
Yes, that's correct. The data project, the electronic score sheet, it was all meant to make things easier for the scorer. To to really help the scorer facilitate the flow of the game. And because everything is so mechanicalized and automated, the concept was that we would reduce mistakes or reduce errors. Because one of the things that we try to encourage is that to keep the game flowing, keep the game moving. And then, of course, once it's electronic, then you have a permanent record for it too as well. So it's easy to store. I remember times, we would take, after, let's say a world championship of 15 days of competition, heaven knows how many matches that we would have to take all the score sheets and put them in a package and send them on. And now everything is just electronically. It's filed with the FIVB, or it's filed with NORCECA, or it's filed with the local organization. That works really well. The headset is it's really critical, because the modern game is so fast, is that it allows that communication between the first and second referee and the scorer, and of course, if you're using a challenge system, with the challenge system. So to be able to have that communication, to no longer use a signal which somebody can see, you're able to talk with your colleague and provide support. Great call, or don't worry, we'll get it next time. So these are important things that I think as the game grows, we'll be able to see a lot more of that, and it is helpful. As once people get used to it, people are intimidated. I think with the electronic score sheet, most countries now, certainly within NORCECA, we've been doing a lot of scorers programs, e-score sheet programs, that we're doing that by a distance. So very often the NORCECA and FIVB and NORCECA Development Center will offer a program for that. But with the headsets, this is something that's growing, and it's a really nice tool for referees to have to help facilitate the delivery of the game.
I totally agree with you, but I think technology is good. It helps, but I think it's more important to have the instinct, and that the referee can have the instinct, and he can whistle without tablet and without a headset and without e-sheet, right?
Yeah, well, Doug Wilson would remember those days. No, yeah, I mean, that's where, people of my vintage and Doug's vintage, we grew up without that. We whistled without that. So, but, you're talking about instinct, and then, now we're getting to the characteristics of a referee. And, as I think, as when we talked about that recruitment of referees and people who have played the game and people who have a really good understanding, they have an understanding of the technical aspects that players can have, and understanding the rules, not just from, we have a saying, at one time we used to use the rules to manage a game. Now we manage the game using the rules. It's a little bit different, but once, if it didn't fit in the rules, it was a fault. Now we sort of look at some of the management, and while a fault is a fault, but at certain times that we will understand the spirit of the game, we'll understand the personality of a game. A game that is 23-23 has a whole different personality than a game that's 19-12. The players are a little bit different, the anxiety levels are a little bit different, the flow may be a little bit different. And for us as referees, it's how do we manage, that when those personality of the game changes. And this is where the instinct comes in. This is where, knowing where a pass is going to be, or knowing where a block is going to be, or not being surprised that a player has just made, a fantastic dig, because we as referees, we appreciate that. And so therefore we're always ready for it.
Yeah, right, Guy. We have another message from, I think it's Costa Rica. Jorge Villalobos says, thank you very much for sharing your experience with us, Guy.
Now, Jorge is another member of our NORCECA Referee Commission. We're working on, one of our projects is to do a historical overview of our referees and prepare in a categorization system. And this is Jorge's responsibility, and and we're getting there. We're soon going to present to our commission our findings for that, and that will be the foundation for us moving forward as we get to looking at that recruitment and the sustainability of our referees to be able to service our NORCECA events.
Saludos a Jorge Villalobos hasta Costa Rica. Let me see. Which person, you mentioned a few minutes ago, Dr. Andrew Holway. Which people can you say it was your role models or influencers in all your career in refereeing?
In Canada, I would have two. I'd have Mr. Brad Barton. Brad is a retired international referee. He was the national referee chair for a number of years. He's a referee at the Olympics, World Championships. Brad taught me the technical side of being a referee. And then was another retired international referee from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Mr. Weezer Bridle. And Weezer influence with me was around the understanding of the game, understanding the spirit of the game. And so, I was very blessed to have these two really nice and extremely talented gentlemen, one from the technical side of volleyball and one about how to manage the game and how to keep the game moving. So those would be, right from my home country. Internationally, I think Juan Prea from Argentina. My first volleyball nations league, world league was with Juan. And it was just a tremendous experience. And of course, he's, gold medal at the Olympics and World Championships, and just a fantastic individual. He has both what I spoke about my colleagues with Brad Barton and Weezer Bridle. He has both all in one. So I think that he has been was one of my influencers at that particular level.
And Pereira, who was also in the show here last year, he whistled 2 Olympic gold medal matches.
Yeah.
One for the women's and one for the men's. I don't know, he's the only one who achieved that?
No, there's one other person who did them at one, but Juan is a very, very special man, and I look forward to the next time I see and work with him.
Yeah, right. Guy, in your words, how can you define this change of referee delegate versus referee coach? It's more than just 2 pair of words, right?
Yes. Yeah, in the past, a referee delegate was more of a delegate. You were there, you were an administrator. While you assigned people and you gave feedback, but the feedback was not always from a coaching side. It was really about, you made this mistake or you did that mistake, and there wasn't any, here's how you would correct it. And under Willie's tenure with the FIVB, we have transitioned from delegate to coach. And right now there's about 1,000 international referees in the FIVB database. And we have about 224, 225 referees who are categorized. And the categorized referees are the referees that the FIVB has identified to be able to service the future needs of international volleyball, particularly FIVB volleyball. And this is on the volleyball side. Beach, we have about 291 international beach referees, and 117 of them are categorized. So both on the beach and volleyball side, we've transitioned to the referee coach. And what our objective there is to, like a playing coach, is that to review the performance of a referee and then provide them with that support to be able to continue and improve their capacity as a referee. I was at I was in Mexico. We were in Mexicali for a youth championship, and Pat Powers, one of the most prolific volleyball players, I think Pat was on the team of the millennial from the United States,
Yeah, he was
1984
in
gold
the
medals.
gold medal this 84, yeah.
Yeah. So, and Pat was a member of our, particularly the Rules of the Game Commission. We had the opportunity to travel many times and he was, while he wasn't a referee, he was, a referee delegate or a referee coach. And I asked him one day at a referee meeting, and it was unscripted. And I said, Pat, what was, and of course he had one of the greatest coaches ever, Dr. Doug Beal. And I asked Pat, I said, what was one of the things that Doug would say to you? And he said, simply and without thinking, to improve every day. And so players work hard to improve every single day, the little bit here, the little bit there. And as referee coaches, that's our responsibility to provide support and advice to referees so that they can improve every single day. Because the players are training to improve. That's our goal, and that's our responsibility to help the referees improve every day so that they can provide this high level service so that the players who are the stars of the show, people come watch players to play. And that's one of the things you talked about. It's really nice and clean. You hardly ever see the referees in VNL. It's just the players. And so from a referee's coach perspective, that's our objective.
How many referee coaches are right now in the commission? Do you remember?
Well, the commission is made up of 16 people, but our referee coaches go beyond that. I would think there's probably, and the last referee coach program was probably 4 or 5 years ago. So some may have retired, but there's probably about 15. I can't tell you. I shouldn't even say that. I really don't know. But one of our I think one of the objectives for the new commission is to start identifying other referee coaches.
Okay. Guy, have you ever been involved in refereeing beach volleyball or just indoor? Or
just indoor? Just indoor. My hats are off to our colleagues who go to the sand and work in very, very hot conditions, and sometimes very cold conditions, and sometimes very rainy conditions. No, I lean on Andre Trache, my good friend who is just about to go to the Olympics and is a member of the FIVB refereeing commission and member of the NORCECA commission, and also from Canada. So I lean on Andre for anything I need from the beach side.
Yeah, I want more in the club. I don't really like the sand, the feel of the sand.
Oh, I didn't say I didn't like it. I just said I just don't know enough about it. That's all.
Oh, yeah, well,
the world champions.
That's what I mean.
The world champions for women are from Canada, so it's so we have a good.
No, yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. I really prefer more indoor than beach.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
And yeah, Melissa and Sarah Pavan were champions, and Melissa, the daughter of my very good friend Hernán Umaña.
Yes, well, when Hernan first came to Canada, I whistled him. So when he came from Chile to Canada, it was just, here's this member of the Chilean national team was here, and a very dynamic player, but also an extremely very nice gentleman. I really like being with Hernan. He's a very, very nice man.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Do you remember, Guy, which game, the one that you ref, was the most challenging for you? Maybe for the place, for the tournament, for the environment, for the toughness of the match. Do you remember some?
Well, I was second referee in the 1988 World League final between Russia and Brazil in Belo Horizonte. Russia won. I would think that was, one of the highlights of my career, but I don't know if I remember much of it because it was, was my second international final, but it was a strong match. But that one would go down in history as a match that I wish I could remember, because I think I was just really engaged and really focused on the match. But that would be one that I would like to have back so I could enjoy it a bit more.
You remember who was the first referee?
Yes, Shimoyama from
Japan.
Yeah, Shimo was that Dr. Hove was the referee coach delegate at the time. So I was always appreciative to him for that particular nomination.
And well, I think that referees has their fan side. So talking about your fan side, which players, men, women, did you like the most in these years since you became a referee?
Oh man, I think I've seen a lot of good players, but one that always stands out for me, of course, was Jiba. Just a really nice gentleman. We had some discussions as him as captain and me as referee, but he was just a very, very good, very good athlete. And Maurizio, the setter from Brazil, also was very strong. Weber from Argentina was also Conte from Argentina. These are the era of the folks that I refereed, and particularly at that high level. Not too many European competitions for me at that particular time, so it was mainly South American and the North American and the NORCECA zone. Those are four players that really stand out for me.
Right, big names you mentioned, of course.
Yeah. These are people that I probably watched as a fan as a first referee or as a second referee, but they were dynamic and passionate about the game, and certainly provided a really good show for the people who came to watch, and they were team leaders, and their teams excel because of them. So I think that's one of the reasons why I really like watching these particular athletes.
Yeah, Guy, we know that in the last Congress of the FIVB, some rules were changed, were implemented. I will not go in deep in that, but I think that a lot of coaches, especially Europeans, they are expecting more for the second ball touch, that the refs or FIVB and the refs, they can be more flexible about the second ball touch. We can talk about the libero, he can be captain now, but it's not, those are not rules that change the game, like the rally scoring system, or like you can hit the ball with all the body. What do you think we can see in the next few years in the development of volleyball and development of the rules?
Well, the FIVB has just made a huge strategic shift in splitting the competition side or the promotional of competition side from the day-to-day operations of FIVB in creating Volleyball World. And the partnership with the investment company of over $100 million, sorry, over the next number of years to really position volleyball as even a greater worldwide sport than it is right now. For the Olympic Games, volleyball, it tends to be one of the highest, if not the highest, sport that attracting the number of viewers. And I think, under Dr. Grassa, they've been able to identify this as as a good stepping stone for the future. So I think the game is going to evolve on two different levels. My personal opinion is one for the really strong entertainment side. And this is, what we'll see at VNL and the VNLs in the VNLs types for the future, World Championships and World Cups, and of course the Olympics. So it'll be making the game more attractive to the fan. FIB's motto is keep the ball flying. And I think that you're going to see something. And what we're seeing in Italy right now, with their game, is that little bit more flexibility, or seeming to be a little bit more flexibility with keeping the ball flying, to keep that professional level of competition going, to show the skill of the athletes. So, I think there'll be data collected over the next few years to see where we can go and where we can place, particularly around management of the second hit. In most cases, and again, this is just me, one of the original rules for volleyball was that you cannot hit the ball twice. And I would suggest where that was, you cannot play to yourself and hit it. So that was like, really, you can't hit it, play it to yourself and play it over the net. So that's playing it twice. But then some smart referee said, well, using the logic that you can't play it twice, you can't do two bumps off your arms and play it twice. You cannot make two contacts with your hand and play it twice. And then the rule evolved that way, that we as referees started to call things really aggressive, particularly on the overhand face pass. But when we think of it, is there an advantage to the team who does two hits? And what we're seeing is basically not, because we have allowed it in the first hit.
All right.
Is there, while there's advantage, are they gaining any advantage? Is there, beyond the concept of that it's two hits, but the play is going on, the play is fluid, so maybe sometime down the road we'll look at something similar to the concept of that you can have, relax the management of the ball handling on the second set. The only thing which I would add a caveat to that it would not be an attack. So people cannot sort of set it up themselves and play it quickly off themselves because, sending the ball in a different direction, well, now you are gaining an advantage of that. But I think as research goes and, as what we're seeing with the experiment and that we're seeing in Italy, that there may be something maybe at a World Student Games where sometimes we do experiments, but it's really, trying to, a lot of experiments which we've done at FISU Games or something have been mechanical things and not a structural thing, like referees all of a sudden have to turn off their mind. And where do you find that balance between what's a legal two hit and what's a fault two hit? So where do we find that balance in our mind? So I think there's a bit more research, but I think there is also a strong push for the FID through the Refereeing and Rules of the Game Commission to probably come up with some type of position paper on that for the Board of Administration to consider.
Yeah, right. Guy, volleyball today is very different than volleyball 20 or 30 years ago. In your opinion, in your vision, how do you think volleyball and refereeing will evolve in the next few years? What we will see as a fans?
Oh, every now and then we ask ourselves, how much faster can a swimmer swim? And they continue to break records, world records for swimming, and they continue to break world records for the 100-meter, the 200-meter run. It's these athletes are so big, they're so strong, they're so powerful, but they're so athletic. And you're seeing fine examples at VNL right now of athleticism and some of the rallies which we're seeing. So where's volleyball going? I just think it's going to get better. I think the athletes are going bigger, stronger. Now it's just not now, but over the last decade, we've started to introduce science into the program. Once it was just about athletes. Now it's, every team has a strength coach. Every team has a nutritionist. Every team has a, physical therapy that travel with them. Every team has a mental performance coach. And, everyone's looking for that edge beyond the athleticism side. And I think for referees that, this is something that we will probably have to consider too as well. As we get to, particularly at the high level of, we've identified those 224 referees now, and that's 4 categories: category A, B1, B2, and C. Most of the referees, if not all the referees at VNL, are A-level referees. And I think probably what you're going to see over the next while is that how do we further engage these referees and prepare them to meet the challenges of what's going to come, as the athletes keep pushing harder, the coaches keep better, all those systems get in place, that we as referees have to prepare ourselves a little bit different to meet those particular challenges. And that could become, is a bit more of a professionalization, a bit more of a commitment to FIVB, that, not only, you have to do work outside the court, outside the field of play, that, there is some mental performance that we provide you. There is some, practice training that you can do. And again, in this relaxed atmosphere that, certainly in a competitive atmosphere, that you can, learn your whistle, that you can learn the situations that you'll be faced with. A few years ago, we were having a conversation with some referees, and one of the questions, what was your takeaway from the tournament? And was to be prepared for the unexpected. But as we talked about it, it became not being prepared for the unexpected, but being prepared for the expected. When teams train and look at video, very rarely does something happen, an attack, that they're not expecting. They all know, this person's coming through the middle, this person's going outside. They all know the routine. And I think for us as referees, we have to get to that point where we understand what the routine is, so that we can never be caught off guard, because we're caught off guard. That then becomes the challenge for referees, because then it shows that, wait, now the referees have, they've never seen this before, or they're not applying it. And so then trying to manage that situation. So we have to improve and help referees manage these types of situations.
Guy, can we go a little in deep with the categorization of referees? You mentioned A,
yes.
B1, B2, and C. How
Yes.
can expect a young referee that he says right now, hey, I want to become an Olympic referee in Paris 24?
Yeah.
Say something.
So what we have is, prior to 2016, the FIVB, we offered international referee candidate courses. So each year there'd be, maybe 2 or 3 courses throughout the world, and federations would nominate a referee or 2 referees, to attend this course or these courses. In 2016, the FIB suspended that particular program. We had well over 2,000 referees at that particular time, international referees.
2000.
2000. And or 1,500. That's a different stat. Or about 1,500 referees. And when we prepared for the Olympics in Brazil, which was one of the finest performances, referee performances that we've seen in recent years, in all due respect to everybody before, but all these referees that went to Brazil, they were kind of hothoused. They were a group that were nominated to World Cup, VNL final, World League finals. They were a group that traveled a whole lot for a full year. And because of their performance, Dr. Grassa, made the decision that maybe we should just focus on these high performance referees. Create this group that we can help develop and provide a good level of service over the next, for 2020, 24, 28, 32, and so on. So that's when the categorization system, there's always been a little bit of categorization system, but that's when it was really formalized at that particular time. So in order to become an FIVB categorized referee, you have to be let's say a confederation referee. So for us, it's NORCECA international referee. And the people who are taking our referee courses right now for NORCECA, they will become they will become a NORCECA international referee. So to become a categorized referee, the entry level is category C. And those are really our development referees. Those are the referees that are beginning, they're at the bottom of our pyramid, getting ready for development over the next 10 years or so, because we feel it's going to take 10 years to get somebody ready, they'll either have the skill set or not, over the next 10 years, if we provide them with that necessary support to help them develop. So that's, the category C. And this year, for the first time ever, we're running what we call I'll call it a referee certification program, but in cooperation or in tandem with the FIVB World Under 18 Girls Championship to be held in Durango, Mexico. We are hosting 25 international referees from all confederations. There may be 5 from some confederation, maybe 6 from another, but generally it's pretty well spread out all throughout the world. At this particular competition, these referees will participate in a seminar, or workshop, or course before the program, before the competition starts, and then during the competition they will be evaluated. So in order to be a categorized referee, it's a performance-based system. Prior to that, if somebody wanted to become an international referee, they simply registered and went to a course. And then they were certified as an FIVB international referee, versus now would be, you're still an international referee, but you would be primarily a NORCECA international referee. To become a NORCECA international referee, you had to be nominated by your home country. We generally run courses. We're hoping to run courses every 2 years for volleyball, and the same thing with beach. Beach maybe every 3 years. You have to be between the ages of 25 and 41. And you have to have a really strong working knowledge of English, because English is the working language of the FIVB. So if you become a categorized C referee, generally you will be nominated for age group championships. And then based on your performance at an age group championship, you could be nominated for other age group championships to become a B2 referee, and then continue your process to become a B1 referee. And that's where you could do like challenge programs, the challenge programs, do some of the age group programs, maybe even do some world type competitions such as FISHU games. B1 referees would do volleyball, Nations League, again do challenge programs, and then an A level referee would do the Olympics, World Cup, World Championships, and VNL. So we've placed the referees based on skill set. The program is still developing as we really start to look at our statistical program and our management of our program, and and trying to get a good consensus of who is doing what and where.
So can you say that right now it's a little bit more difficult to be an A referee than 10 years ago? The rules are different.
Yeah, the process is different, but
The process is different.
yeah, but you have to be very good. You know, that's simple. You know, we're talking performance based. So, you know, I guess we all think that we'd like to be there someday, but you know, to get there takes a lot of hard work, a little bit of luck, and skill. So you can work as hard as you want. You can have all the best of luck, but however, if you're not able to perform at that level, you will not make it. That's the simple fact, and that's the same as a player. A player can work really hard. You know, they can. You know, somebody may get injured, but if they do not have the skill set to fit that, that's the challenge. So that's the challenge for us is from the FIVB. That's the challenge for us from NORCECA, is that we have to help prepare our referees so that they can become C referees, and then wearing two hats here now, working with you know, at the FIVB level. So at this year we have the under 18 girls World Championships, the under 19 boys World Championships, the under 20 women's World Championships, and the under 21 men's World Championships. So we have 4 World Championships happening this year, and for 3 times it's 48. It's about 75 referees will be attending those. So those are opportunities for us to look at 75 referees to see where they fit within the categorization system, and the opportunity for them to move up. And unfortunately, from the other side, if someone doesn't have the skill set, then there's maybe some consideration of whether or not they would continue on being a categorized referee, because it's not an appointment for life.
Yeah, and it may sound pretty obvious that you have to speak and understand English, but well, I know a lot of people that they say, hey, if I ref very good, it's not really important the English, and I disagree completely with that, because it's not only to talk about to the players, it's talking and interact with other referees, with the local organization committee, with the guy in the score sheet. It's compulsory to know English, right?
Yeah, as I mentioned, English is the working language. And if you listen on VNL, because now with the referees are mic'd, so basically everybody can hear everything. You know, when the captain comes over, and the captain is from, you know,
Bulgaria.
Iran, you know, like Bulgaria, you know, Russia, and they're speaking with Danny Cepedas, they're speaking English. They're speaking with Patty Rolfe. Well, Patty's a natural English speaker. Luis Messias, they're speaking English. So that is our working language. So it's really important. And it's important because now everything is broadcast. So, you know, this has been another factor that the FIVB, when they looked at this, there was a response from TV is that we want to be able to hear the conversation between referees and players. And so people, you know, generally they need to be able to speak that language. So English is our working language. So it's critical that, you know, in NORCECA, it's, you know, we are predominantly you know, a Spanish confederation, but English is our working language. So, you know, we try to find a happy medium between using Spanish and English as we look at development. We certainly do not see that language would be a deterrent for someone to become an international referee, but they certainly have to have a working knowledge of English.
Yeah, right. Guy, we're almost in the final minutes of this amazing talk. I want to ask you a few more questions. What's your opinion about this year Athletes Unlimited Volleyball League in the United States? It's a different format. They played only 3 sets, and they played in the way of we will not have a champion team. We will have a champion player. I think this playing 3 sets reduced to a very, very standard time the length of the games. The players are allowed, if a player wants to wear number 99, it's okay. If she wants to play with long sleeve, short sleeve, a long bottom, short bottoms, it's okay. The main thing here is the player and is the fan. What do you think about that? Is a different way of volleyball. I don't want to say it's better, if it's worse than the traditional volleyball, but what's your opinion about this?
Well, I did not get to see much of it, but there's an old saying that there's two best times to plant a tree, 25 years ago and today. And I think this is planting the seed today to build that infrastructure that could come later on for a professional league. So this is something to really maybe to attract people into volleyball that they may not been before. I mean, the NCAA is such a strong program in the United States. It's certainly probably the best volleyball in NORCECA, which we have. So the little bit of little tweaking which they did to attract people, it certainly gathered a lot of press from what I saw, and maybe just because I look at a lot of volleyball sites. So it's generating that interest and building that capacity that there is something else out there beyond university and college ball. And, so it's a start for where they want to go. Reduce the restrictions, encourage, free play, identify with the athletes. Because I think in the past we're trying to create a national league. It's all around the teams and making sure that you've got parity to start off with, and that if you got the funding to be able to go with it. This one was really highlighting some world-class athletes, and people get to recognize them. And then as you build a capacity, will they go to a transitional way? Or maybe this is the way which volleyball is going to go in the long term. It's just another game, but it was certainly supported by the FIVB. Got a lot of press from the FIVB. So acknowledgement of penetrating the United States market for FIVB and for professional women's volleyball. So kudos to them, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, right. Talking about college volleyball, I know more NCAA than college volleyball in Canada. Which do you think are the main differences between the Canadian college volleyball and American college volleyball?
In Canada, we use basically FIVB rules. In the United States, it's different rules, different. It seems to be, and again, I don't know a whole lot about it, but just from what I understand, that would be the big difference. People, and that's one of the challenges for FIVB when we go to the United States, is that people may not understand all the rules that go with it. In Canada, the ball hits the ceiling. In the United States, if it hits the ceiling, it's sort of play on. This is one of the, and there's different decisions, I guess, that are made at top of the net and some things along those lines. But I really don't know enough about NCAA, other than I know that they have their rules, but our rules in Canada are basically FIVB rules.
Okay. Guy, we are almost on the finish of this amazing talk. I want to thank you very, very much for your time. I want to ask you, for all the times you have been here in Mexico, which are your favorite real Mexican food?
Oh gosh. When I was in Cordoba,
Veracruz, yeah.
Yeah, Veracruz, yeah. We went to a restaurant that they served the food on it was cooked right in front of you on a platter. You understand what I'm talking about? Am I?
Yeah,
Yeah. Right. That style, that was the style. I liked that particular style. It was, you know, we had beef that particular night. It was very good, and you know, but that was, you know, I like it all, but that was one particular meal that I kind of enjoyed. So.
Okay, just give me a minute. Miguel Ramirez is sending me some pictures of you and him refereeing. Just give me 1 minute, please. Miguel, acá está.
That might have been in New Orleans.
Maybe, let me, give me 1 minute. I think he sent it to me by messenger. I'm opening my messenger. Okay, here's it. Okay, so this is a picture Miguel sent me.
Yes.
In New Orleans, you say?
Yes, I think that is New Orleans. That was in, that was in a long time ago. Yeah.
25 years ago.
Oh, every bit of that. That was back in the 90s sometime. Yeah.
Still with white pants.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. That
Okay.
was I think that was that trip.
Well, Miguel, allá está la foto, ya la puse. Okay, well, Gay, I want to thank you again for the, Miguel said New Orleans 1993 New Orleans.
1993, okay, yeah. Yeah, that was a nice event, I must say.
28 years ago.
Yeah, it wasn't yesterday.
Guy, I wanna say you thank you. Gracias, gracias, Guy, for estar aquí. It was a very amazing talk to know about more your beginnings, about your activities you are developing right now, your volleyball philosophy, and your favorite Mexican food. It was great to have you here in the show. Please give us some final words for other people who are watching us.
Well, first to you, thank you very much for your time, and you know, 165 shows is it's quite a commitment from you. So again, thank you for connecting the volleyball world. You know, and hopefully that once we move on and move to some type of normalcy, we'll be able to continue to have this type of communication for the promotion of volleyball. And you know, for the referees, thank you for taking the time to come in. I know that it's been a challenging year for you of not being able to whistle. But we all will be back soon. We'll all be enjoying our friends and our colleagues. It's just not the whistling, but it's certainly, you know, what happens after the matches when we get the chance to spend some time together. So continue to stay safe, continue to be healthy, and I look forward to being with you as much as I can over the next period of time, and continue happy whistling.
Thanks to you, Guy. And well, I will say something I repeated a lot in my shows. We, the people of volleyball, have the responsibility to grow the game. We have the responsibility to make volleyball bigger and more valuable and more attractive for people. And I'm very pleased to do this job. I have some final messages. Travis Roth says, thanks, guys. Nice to hear from you, Guy.
Oh, great. Thank you very much.
Travis Roth. Samara Sever says, thank you so much, Alejandro and Guy. Very insightful as always.
Thank you, Travis. I didn't pick up thank you, Travis. It's been good. I mean, of course, Samara, it's always good to hear from you.
And Kelvin G says, clap. Says clap.
Yeah.
Hi. And Andrew Robb says, great conversation, gentlemen. Thank you. Thank you, Andrew.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. It's been a real pleasure. So thank you very much. Anytime at all.
Guy, it was a pleasure for me. And well, take care, please. And I hope to see you pretty soon in a volleyball court.
I hope so. I would really like that. Thank you. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
See you, Guy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.